Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info.
Good evening everybody and welcome to the Sim Experience IBFUSA GT3 World Series Round 7, coming to you live from the Mexican Grand Prix circuit in Mexico City. I'm the commentator Dennis Mitchell, joined once again by Sean Woodgate. Just a quick rundown of our calendar. I'm just going to have a quick look at this before we move on because the drivers are officially in qualifying already. So tonight is Mexico, the next round will be Montreal in Canada, then it's Sebring in the United States, and then Monza in Italy. Our point system, for those that don't know how the points work, I'll just leave that on screen. You can pause and move forward at any time. And our top three drivers in the professionals, so we have Jason Underwood leading from Chris Collison and Stanton Augustus. And in our veterans, we have Marius van Wijk from Andre Hildebrand and Harvey Gross. Jason Underwood with the points, 261 over Chris Collison 220 and Stanton Augustus 202. And that is the rest of them, which I will leave, and you guys can go through that at your own leisure. In the team standings, we have Team Harder Racing leading from Midnight Code. Midnight Code has a new driver tonight, so Jean de Toy has moved over to Midnight Code to team up with Adrian Nell. So we are going to jump now live to qualifying. Alright, we are now officially live with qualifying. So this is the official qualifying for the Sim Experience IBFUSA GT3 World Series. This is round 7, qualifying 15 minutes. There is 7 minutes left of the Mexican Grand Prix circuit. This will set the grid for the sprint race, and the sprint race results will set the grid for the feature race. And of course, I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell, and joined this evening once again by Sean Woodgate. certainly is a long straight. So a few changes for tonight. A couple of the drivers have had a couple of changes to their cars or to their skins. One of the drivers is Barrett. He is now in a new skin and a new team. He's now part of Team Full Throttle. Of course, he's still teamed with Antonio, but Antonio has a penalty, so he isn't driving tonight, but we'll have the same skin when we come back for Canada, so looking forward to seeing that back on track. And Jean-Louis Dutoy has also changed, as I mentioned in the build-up, to Midnight Code, so he's now teamed up with Adrianel, who I don't see yet tonight, so I'm not sure if he's still going to join. But if he is in, I haven't yet spotted him. I'm just looking through the driver's list and I don't see him here yet. And I believe it's also Donovan from Mark. His team has been changed to GeForce Racing, which is the same as, I believe it's Dirk. So they are now in the same teams. Other than that, I believe all the teams are the same. We do have one or two new drivers. We have Andre Besson's car has been updated. He has been driving, but he didn't have a skin. He is in. Monet Deploy has now rejoined, so he's now back with us and is in the server tonight and has teamed up with Sean Ulef here, so they are part of the Thorax racing team. As we see, Monet is currently in the pits. The few drivers that's actually not driving at the moment. So his teammate is currently sitting in 6th place. Right across the line, but it looks like that lap was invalidated because there's no sectors showing up on it. So let's have a look at Jean-Louis Dutoy. He's on a hot lap. Personal best in Sector 1. Currently only a fraction behind Jason Underwood. Throughout the week, the top times were set by Gerrit, and Jason and Jean-Louis have been right there as well as Chris, so I think the four of them are going to be extremely close at the front. Jean-Louis definitely got a point to prove. He's trying to win it and he's driving really hard the last few races. Didn't quite go to plan last race with Gerrit getting the double win. Right, let's see how this pans out. He had the fastest overall in the middle sector. Did he jump up from a 144 to a 140.2 and takes provisional pole position? Jump to an onboard so that everyone can see what a lap of the Mexican Grand Prix circuit is like. Yes, great. He's abandoned the lap, I think. Right, so that is quite a good lap by Jason. Apart from backing off, he was quite fast through other sectors. Jean-Ray Dupinard, only fastest in the first sector, fastest overall. Alright, into the final sector. Nice wide entry there, gets a good exit. My favorite part of the track. I love driving between those two grandstands. Let's see how the lap time finishes. 170.7 up to a 140.7 to a 140.6, picks up one place. Collison on for a good one, fastest first and second sector. And position one, Jean-Ray and Gerrit both in the pits at the moment, so Jason's also on a good lap at the moment. We will jump to Jason straight after. Loose on the throttle there, but managed to keep it under control. How did the lap finish? From a 140.5 to a 140.1 and provisional pole position. Can Jason challenge? No, because Jason has pitted, so that is it. Only driver still on track is Julian. Also personal best first and second sector, sorry. Right, into the final sector. Under the grandstands. In the background we see Marius as well coming up to finish the lap. Ooh, a bit loose there. Currently in 11th place on a 142.953. Does that change? Does indeed, up to 9th place on a 142.193. And Marius, I believe in the back, is one of the few drivers still on a lap. And has just crossed the line. Alright, we're going to jump to an ad break. We will be back shortly.
Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash? Or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info.
Alright, good evening and welcome back everyone. This is now the sprint race. You are live for the Sim Experience South Africa IBFUSA GT3 World Series Round 7, coming to you live from the Mexican Grand Prix circuit in Mexico City. This is the sprint race. It is a 6-lap race. I am your commentator Dennis Mitchell, joined once again by Sean Woodgate. Good evening, Sean. Right, the drivers are jumping onto track as we're waiting. We'll then have to follow the pace car around the lap. So as we just look at our standings, so first, second and third in the professional league, which is Jason Underwood, Chris Collison, Stanton Augustus, and in the veterans, Marius van Wyk, Andre Hildebrandt and Harvey Goos. In our overall points, Jason Underwood in first place for Team Harder Racing on 261, Chris Collison 220 and Stanton Augustus on 202. Garrett is in 4th place, Jeandre is in 5th place, Adrian Nel 6th place, Timo Smit not here tonight 7th place, Sean Olivier 8th place, Julian Brains 9th place and Jeandre Dippenaar 10th. I will leave the rest for everyone else to read. In our team standings, Team Harder Racing in first place 481 over Midnight Code. So Midnight Code is probably the only team capable of catching at the moment. Bach Autotech Esport has unfortunately got another event tonight, so they're not joining tonight, but they are currently in 3rd place. They might lose that tonight. Oh. Okay, let me see what's happening here. I'm just going to let the starting procedure run in the background while I try and figure out what's going on with Sean's audio. Yeah, it's not showing at the moment. I'm going to just quickly change this, see if we can get this correct. Alright. Hopefully you are now, if you would like to speak, and I can see if you're showing up. There we go.
Okay, so you have the magic fingers again. I can run through the qualifying quickly off the snip that I made. I don't know what's out on visual at the moment, if you want.
Yes, that'd be great.
Right, Chris Collison out qualifying everybody, then Jeandre de Tooy, Gerrit Beekes in 3rd position, Jason Underwood in 4th, Jeandre Dippenaar in 5th position, Sean Olivier in 6th, Richard Sillier in 7th, Rian van der Westhuizen in 8th position, Julian Brains in 9th, Sean Johnson in 10th, Pieter Geldenhuys 11th position, Dani Stander in 12th, Dinesh Singh was 13th, Rudy van der Westhuizen in 14th position, Andre Hildebrandt 15th, Donovan Vermaak in 16th, Morne de Plooy 17th, Stan Besaidnout in 18th position, Harvey Goos in 19th, Wessel Viljoen in 20th position, Marius van Wyk in 21st, and JP Sillier in 22nd. I think I snipped this before any penalties were applied, so they might be going around slightly different to what I just read, if there were any penalties.
There were 2 penalties. There was Andre Hildebrandt and Donovan Vermaak. I think are the only 2 drivers that got a 5-place grid penalty. The rest are all good to go.
They were 15th and 16th, so they'll drop to the back of the field.
Correct.
Almost at the back of the field. I think they'll slot in behind Harvey, thereabouts.
Right, as the drivers are now coming around the final corner. Safety car peels in.
And the race leader determines the pace.
Go, go, go.
The guys behind are lagging a bit. They should have been a lot closer.
Right, and we're away. Green, green, green.
Right. And certainly they do get a good start. Chris Collison 3 abreast behind him. So certainly he got away well. But looks as though his teammate has made up a position on the number 737 car of Jeandre de Tooy, now driving for Midnight Code. because that straight goes very quickly in race conditions. Somebody going just a little bit wide. The dust there is because nobody's actually driven there, so that's not the racing line, and that's why you'll see the dust. And now they settle sort of into single file, that bit of a straight called recta trancera. I don't have a Mexican accent, and if it did come across as such, I suppose it's a very bad one. Then there's a very complex section, Esa del Lago, which is a left-right combination, followed immediately by a almost hairpin right as well. Short straight, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 curves that follow in succession. It will be left, right, and another left again before they get to the Recta del Ovalo, and then you'll see some of the grandstands, the back end of some of the grandstands that they go through in that complex just before finishing a lap. Those shell helix colors certainly looking really nice.
See a lot of the drivers just dipping a wheel in the grass here and there, or the sand or the dirt here and there.
Using the track and then some. Here they come into the section that you really like, Dennis. This is the circuit, in my opinion, that has the most grandstands of them all.
Oh, it definitely is a fun track to drive. Certain parts of it maybe not so much, but I find the latter stages of the lap really, really fun.
Right, there's the complete lap number 1. And it's Chris Collison that is off like a scalded cat. And he has his teammate now behind him, 0.6 of a second. It's Gerrit Beekes, who was quick in the free practice, but somehow it just didn't go his way in the qualifying. But that BM of Gerrit is quite quick, so you can expect him to be there towards the end of the race.
Definitely, he certainly put the most laps in once again. So last week we saw the results of that, the pole position and a double victory. So let's see if that pans out tonight.
I think with this track, if you've got a fast car, the length of the main straight is such that if you have a quick car getting out of that grandstand section, and you can position the car well to block turn 1 for your competitor, so you've got to get up on his right hand side so that he can't turn into turn 1, then, and you can have the benefit of slipstream as well down that long straight, then certainly you can make an overtaking move here. I suppose that's quite a popular place to do overtake. I think Nigel Mansell was, I wouldn't say a hero, but well known here for doing an overtaking maneuver around the outside of the long curve leading into the main straight.
Lots of action happening at the front here. The Team Harder guys obviously fighting amongst each other, no team orders. Jason all over the back of Chris, and I think Chris is defending slightly, and that's allowing Gerrit to close in a little bit of time that he lost, so he's definitely in the fight at the moment. And even Yandre Dippenaar in 4th place is right with him. He's only 2.9 seconds back. He's got Richard, his teammate, right behind him as well.
Yeah, the guys are very competitive very early. Let's hope it stays there. Julian Brains is right on to Stan beside him. Stan got a decent start from the qualifying, so Stan up into 9th position.
Jason takes the lead, by the way, into turn 1.
Right, and he probably, while I was looking at the lap scoring monitor, did it as I said, got up on the right hand side, used the slipstream, and then just blocked the line into the corner. And that's completely legitimate. Maybe he's got a quicker car, but that means Gerrit Beekes is now going to be harassing Chris Collison very, very soon.
Indeed, he's certainly 0.5 behind him at the moment. On board with him.
So we wait and see. Now you can see 1st, 2nd and 3rd, while looking forward from the 3rd placed car of Gerrit Beekes in his new colours. He got used to him in the old colours in the yellow and green, and now he's running Team Full Throttle. So I wouldn't say he's jumped ship. I think he was running almost on his own in the previous team, but having a good race nonetheless in 3rd position. The sprint race, only half points, but it does determine your starting position for the main race. So still worth going for podium position at least, and then seeing what you can do in the main race. Of course, the main race isn't won or lost on the 1st or the 2nd lap because it is an hour. So you have plenty time to calculate where and when you're going to get to the car ahead of you.
Nice battle here. I'm not sure what's happened to Jean-Louis du Toit, but he's coming back through the field. He obviously had an incident. Currently going around the outside, or trying to go around the outside of Stan Bezuidenhout. Nicely done there.
Stan made a mistake actually in the previous, well, 2 previous corners coming into the grandstand complex, and that gave the gap, and that's why he was passed. So Jean-Ray Detoy getting past him in the 737 car, and that is also in a new team. That is the Midnight Code team now.
So we see a penalty now for Vessel Viljoen as well. I'm not sure what that was for.
Right, Vessel is in 14th position. That's going to be bad if he has to come in and serve that penalty now, because this only being a sprint race, there's not much time to recover.
And he's just about to lose another place. I believe that's Rian van der Westhuizen coming past him.
And Rian is flying along as well. There's not really time to get through who's doing what time in the lap. There's a Porsche. Is that Julian that comes past? Gone off the circuit there.
That's
and
Vessel.
the curve is vicious. The grass is even worse.
You see Marius van Wyk also challenging nicely there. I believe that's on Stan Bezuidenhout. So they're having a nice battle further back here as well.
Close is running up in 13th position.
Stan running off track there.
Would that be deemed to be gaining an advantage?
Yes, because he didn't back off. He definitely held position by running off track.
Yeah, so
he would have had a warning by the game for that, so he's probably lost some points. You get a maximum of 5 points per event.
So the race director will be in his ears. Here's the complex now that I said that in one of the corners he did make a mistake. Let's see if he takes it slow in as fast out. That's the normal way that they say, and I think he's learned from being passed the previous time. Let's see how much of the curve he uses. Not very much. He actually didn't use the full width, because now you can cut back in on the curbs to get the maximum slingshot into the straight. And he'll be fighting position now, will Stan. He's in 11th. He was, I think, up in 9th. It's certainly Julian Brains and Jean-Ray Detoy getting past him. And right at this moment, Marius van Wyk is going to have a look as well. We'll see. I think he's too far back for turn 1. Yeah. Of course, you've got to be smooth on the brakes for turn 1, because it's a right, left, right. And it's you've got to get the car through all 3 corners, because any mistake in any one of them, and you're going to lose a position if you're this close in the racing. Gerrit is pushing Chris Collison quite hard for position.
Yeah, Chris seems to have fallen back a bit, or maybe it's because he's defending from Gerrit, but Jason is pulling away with a 2-second lead at the moment.
Well, Jason is the leader in the championship, and maybe Chris has decided, just the way that this race is working, he's riding shotgun, and there's no time to allow Gerrit to catch Chris. Even if he were to pass Chris, I think Jason is far enough ahead. I think they're on, is this lap 5 of 6 that they're already on?
Yes, they'll be crossing the line now for the final lap.
Yeah, the sprint race is fast and furious, and some guys have it better than others. Let's have a quick look. Harvey's in 14th. I just want to actually go and have a look where he qualified. Now, I know that he was pushed up. Now, Harvey was in 19th, and the 2 positions that the other guys were penalized, that puts him in 17th, and at the moment he's running 15th, so he's actually having quite a good race.
Big battle going back here.
Is that Stan getting back at everybody?
Yeah, and Marius van Wyk just got past him. He's got Rian van der Westhuizen right behind him as well.
Stan is really involved in this race, and this is the last lap, so he's got to fend off the challenge behind him. I think that car's just a little bit too far back to do anything in turn 1, but the complexity of turn 1 to 3, anything can and normally does happen. If you get the curbing wrong and you position the car wrong, then the guy's going to be right at you, which he is, and then it's the straight section, the recta transera, if he can do anything there, which he's having a look. That's a decent look, and Stan runs middle of the road sort of thing. Now he's got to hold it and stay within track limits. He does so very nicely. So Stan loses another position and he's down to 13th. Oh, there's a lot of dirt on the track there. That's 2 positions up from Stan. So I think that was Marius van Wyk. Quite a lot of guys are going off onto, I'm not sure if it's Astro that's beyond the markings, but certainly it does have a lot of dust. You can see the grass, which is definitely grass.
Jason now takes victory from Chris Collison, and then Gerrit. So Gerrit settles for 3rd in the end. Andre Dippenaar 4th. Richard will take 5th. Sean Olivier, a solid 6th place. Sean Johnson, 7th place. Great result for Sean Johnson. We hardly saw him, but what a great result. Peter Geldenes, 8th. Jean-Ray Dutoy, only 9th. Julian Brains, another good race, 10th place. Maurice van Wyk leading out Rian van der Westhuizen. So 11th and 12th, that's good results there. Looks like Stan has gone off because he's further back. Dinash is now there, unless it was Dinash there the whole time. In fact, it might have been.
13th. So, just having a look now, Harvey dropped down to 17th, so something must have happened on that last lap. Got Harvey across the line, who are we still waiting for?
Just Wessel Viljoen.
Right then, just take a quick snip of that.
As he crosses the line, we'll jump to an ad break, wait for the grid to be set for the feature race, and then we'll head off to the main race.
So we'll speak to you then.
Alright, let's head off into an ad break. We will see you shortly.
Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info.
Right, welcome back everybody to the Sim Experience IBFUSA GT3 World Series Round 7 feature race, 60-minute feature race coming to you live from the Mexican Grand Prix circuit in Mexico City. I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell, joined once again by Sean Woodgate. Good evening again,
Always
Sean.
nice. Hi Dennis, always nice to be here.
I'm just going to run us through the calendar quickly for the schedule for the season. So this is the 7th round. We'll have Montreal next from Canada, then we'll have Sebring from United States, and finally Monza in Italy. Our top 3 professional drivers: Jason Underwood, Chris Collison, Stanton Augustus. And our top veterans: Maurice van Wijk, Andre Hildebrandt and Harvey Goos. And looking at our points for the championship so far, after the final round, the last round, we had Jason Underwood from Chris Collison and Stanton Augustus, Harry Lucas, Jean-Louis Dutoy, Adrian Nel, Timo Smith, Sean Olivier, Julian Brains, Jandre Dippenaar, Rian van der Westhuizen, Richard Cillier, Peter Murray, Peter Galvanes, Sean Johnson, Andre Besson, Dani Stander and Donny Belafonte. And our team standings: Team Harder Racing still in first place from Midnight Code, Water Tech Esport, BB Racing, EZN Panel Beaters, Minions Racing, Thorax Racing, EZN Worldmech Racing, Team High Revolution Racing, Sim Experience SA, IBFUSA, SRC Motorsport, GDR Racing, GeForce Equipment Center and Deltic Esports.
With Gerrit jumping from BP Racing to Team Full Throttle, does he take the team points with him, or does that stay as is and he starts scoring for his new team?
He will, I think, take team. I'm not sure if the system will automatically do it, but it should take over the points. But if not, then I don't think. We'll see the next round. I'm not sure how it's set, but if it doesn't do it automatically, then I'm not sure if I'll do it manually or not. I might have to decide on that.
Or just move his points then across to the new team?
Yeah, the driver's points will carry, but it's a question of the team points. So the driver, if they've got points, it doesn't matter what team it was for. And then just looking at our order here, at the moment we have a 13th to 16th. So 16th we have Rudy van der Westhuizen. I'll just read from there on. In 17th place, Harvey Goos. 18th place, Monet Deploy. 19th place, JP Cillier. 20th place, Donovan Vermaak. 21st place, Andre Hildebrandt, and in the final place, Wessel Verloon.
It's the first time we see Monet Deploy out in the GT3 series.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. Right, because if we are going through the stadium section, which means the pace car peels off, and Team Harder Racing will bunch them up nicely, and we will be ready to go for a start.
We see all the drivers coming down the straight.
Back markers must do a catch-up again.
Right, and we're away. One of the Porsche drivers was veering off to the side, so thankfully no penalties were given. It didn't pass, but it was close.
Yeah, I saw him go towards the barrier there, but maybe he got just into line in time. Team Harder Racing closes off, but is Gerrit in the right position? Yes, he is. So Gerrit will hold on to that third position for now. Jandre Dippenaar making it very difficult for him behind. So certainly everything to fight for in this early stage of the race for position, but you don't win or lose the race on the first lap, and they will keep that in mind. There are quite a few opportunities for passing on this circuit. We've seen quite a few passes in the sprint race, and that was only 6 laps worth. This is an hour, so we'll have to wait and see how they do around this track. I think there's an overtake.
Yeah, Sean Johnson and Jean-Louis Dutoy having a nice battle here.
Yeah, the corner goes the wrong way for Sean Johnson, unluckily, and of course just drifts the car in front of him quite legally, and there was much room given by both competitors, so well done to them both. And you don't want to be involved in a touch, especially when the corners are so tight and also so early in the race.
Well, Sean had a great first race, and he usually does well in longer races, so let's see if he can get a good result. Usually a very consistent driver, so I think the longer races will suit him, as other guys maybe make mistakes and the fatigue kicks in.
Yeah, Jandre Dutoy in 7th position, just holding him off for now. To go through under the grandstand. And it's another lap down.
Not
Also,
Sorry, not sure what happened to Jean de Tour in the first race, but he definitely lost ground, having qualified in second place. We didn't see it, but he didn't finish where he should have.
Yeah, he's caught up. I think we said he finished 9th, and he's up to 7th already in the few laps that they have done. So if you look at his lap times, he runs in the 148s, but the quicker guys are in the 145s. Jason just plants a 145.495 the last lap, which is almost a second quicker than his teammate. So Jason is really cooking tonight.
Yeah, I think he's decided that's it. He's pulling the pin and he's off.
Yeah. IBFUSA has a good run for the time being. He's behind Stan Besaidnout. I think Stan gained positions and then lost quite a few positions in the sprint race again. Oh, Harvey's up on his inside, late on the brakes. I think that, where was there a touch? I think Stan turned in. So, yeah, Harvey took that one from way back.
I think Stan was very early on the brakes, and that kind of threw Harvey off. He had to sort of go for the move, or else there was going to be an impact. But yeah, the corner got closed off and there was a bit of impact, but I don't think he had anywhere else to go.
Yeah. And now, as you can see, Harvey pulls away from Stan. So not sure that Stan has any damage. But as you say, maybe Stan was being careful and got on the brakes a bit earlier, which caught out Harvey because that was quite a tight corner. And I can think that if the competitor ahead of you brakes a lot earlier than what you used to braking yourself, then that can catch you out.
Donovan running wide there.
He'll probably hear the race director in his ears. Donovan's down in 18th position, so he doesn't want to be told off so early in the race, because it certainly will be to your detriment if you have to go and do a penalty so early and then have to fight all the way back into position. We haven't spoken about the tyre compounds. Look as though the top 7 cars are running hard. Then Sean Johnson is running medium. Split strategy for Julian. And then Van Westhuizen and Geldenhuis both on mediums again. And Standard number 243 is on the hard compound again. So mixed. Obviously nobody on the soft, this being a 1-hour endurance race. And there are corners that go in both directions. So you will be wearing both sets of tyres, and that might sound like a strange thing to say, but some tracks are predominantly left-handed or predominantly right-handed. But this one certainly has enough corners going in both directions that tyre wear will be even on all 4 tyres. And if I say the set, we're talking about the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Take, for an example, I think Swartkops. If anybody knows Swartkops here on the outside of Pretoria, it goes clockwise, and I think the last and the first corner are left-handers, and virtually the rest of the track is all right-handers. So this track, as you can see, goes in all the directions. So your tire, oh, there's a bit of a bump. Sean Olivier a bit late on the brakes, and maybe it looks as though the car ahead of him was early on the brakes.
That being Yandre Dupinant. Yandre Dupinant and Sean Olivier have had a few incidents together throughout the series, so they seem to always find themselves in the same bit of tarmac.
This time it's for 4th and 5th, so it's high up in the points, but it was just a nudge. It was a normal racing incident. There was no malice, but certainly it can unsettle the car if you don't expect it. But it was directly from the back. It wasn't the Americans call it a pit maneuver. So off they go again, and they are still racing.
Yandre Dupinant fresh off his victory today in the NMSF event, having taken victory there in the British Touring Car round, and having taken victory yesterday in the Real World Oval Series that he's running in Namibia at, I believe it was at Tony Rust.
Well, that's a multi-purpose circuit. They certainly have made progress. I was there actually the day that it was opened. It was, I think, got to think back, somewhere when I was in the Defence Force back in the day. It must have been 81 or 82, so I should imagine it'll probably have been 1982. So they've come a long way in the years from then until now. More than 40 years ago. I don't want to say that too loudly.
Give away our ages by mentioning the history.
Certain events.
Right, so how is Jean-Louis du Toit doing? He's coming through the field, but not as fast as I thought he would. Currently up to 7th place.
He's just under a second behind Richard Sillier. So Richard Sillier in car number 101. He's holding on in that BMW for PZN Racing. So Richard's holding his position in 6th. And Richard is just over a second behind Sean Olivier, who in turn is less than half a second behind Jan-Ray Dippenaar. Now Jan-Ray Dippenaar in car number 9 is the other PZN panel beaters car, the BMW. So they are quite close together and certainly have everything to fight for between themselves, and then they have another car between them as well. So close racing for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Those 4 positions are very hotly contested.
Nice 3-way battle going on here as well. This is for 17th, 18th, 19th.
Andre Hildebrand, one of the veterans, runs in the Martini Racing colours, and certainly you can see it a mile off number 72, and it is a really nice trim to see.
Looks like Stan Bezadner just made a slight mistake there. Andre couldn't capitalise.
Vessel Fillion has got them in sight, but a little bit distant to be able to mount a challenge. But he'll be at them. On the brakes, they seem to close up, and then whoever's in the lead gets onto the throttle earlier, and then it stretches again. Ooh, little bit. I think that it certainly to me looks like tartan that they've got out there. If it's paint, then the grip is not going to be good on that either. So certainly you want to stay within the limits of the track, not only for avoiding a penalty, but also being able to get onto the throttle earlier and not have the wheels spinning up if they're on a surface that doesn't grip very well.
So the battle for first place is hotting up again. It's quite close, still 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, they seem to be getting away from Gerrit now because he's 2.6 seconds away from Chris Collison. So as you see, there's the team Harder Racing. You don't see Gerrit even in picture, and I've got to get used to saying Gerrit that races for Team Full Throttle. So he's going to be fighting there, the team Harder. There at the back you see Gerrit coming along, and behind him Jan-Ray Dippenaar. So first and second are fairly close, and then third and fourth also running as a pair. About half a second apart, Jan-Ray Dippenaar followed, Gerrit Beekes followed by Jan-Ray Dippenaar.
So this could unfold very, very differently as the race has progressed, but I'm surprised that Gerrit is falling back because he definitely has the pace.
He did in practice, and certainly had a fairly good qualifying, but when it came, I think he got the 3rd place in the sprint, but he's third still, so he hasn't changed position, but he's not keeping up with the 2 cars from Team Harder Racing, and those cars, as we speak about them, are Aston Martins, and I think somebody else runs an Aston as well. I just have to go through the list very quickly. Ibel 101.
Jan-Ray du Toit.
Jan-Ray, yeah. So Jan-Ray had a good qualifying but a bad sprint race. We're still trying to get around that, and he seems to be stuck in 7th at the moment. Not far, only 0.4 of a second behind Richard Sillier. So Jan-Ray car number 737, the green one, and he's behind Richard Sillier number 101. It's also one of the PZN cars.
And lining him up right now.
Yeah.
You gonna go for it?
First Pirelli, then the Petronas bridge, or Petronas, depending who you speak to. Very interesting circuit this is, with you've got to think sort of corners ahead of where you go into one corner, because if you get the first corner wrong, it's going to count against you for the corners that follow. See there, he's thinking about going up on the inside, but that means he's potentially out of line for the corner, and he runs middle of the road, which isn't necessarily the fastest. But then again, his competitor in front of him makes a mistake and puts the 2 left wheels onto the dirt, which means he doesn't have the grip and acceleration, and he does it again. And now he's going to be in place for, yes, he is in position for the pass, even though it was on the wrong side of the left-handed circuit. He went around the outside, as it were. So well driven by both of them for giving each other enough room, but definitely he got that position due to 2 mistakes, as he goes and makes a mistake himself. So Jean-Ray du Toit is fighting back.
Of course, with them fighting and Richard making a mistake which holds Jean-Ray up, that allowed Sean Olivier to get away in the battle that's ahead of them, and now they're coming up to, I believe that's Donovan that they're lapping. That could also slow them up and break them up slightly. As we see the sun starting to set.
Rudy van der Westhuizen and Pieter Geldenhuis, both of them DNF'd already, so we have 20 cars. So Donovan is officially the back marker at the moment.
Alright, moving over nicely on the straight for the guys to come past. Thank you, Donovan. Nicely done.
Well done. The beauty of this circuit is the straight is so long enough that had Donovan just kept his racing line, it's long enough that they could have got past him and more than likely blocked him going into turn one anyway.
So at the moment, Sean is right behind Jean-Ray, but now I think Jean-Ray is going to start catching. There's a 2-second gap back to Jean-Ray. We'll see how that's going to pan out. We see some blue flags still waving. I guess that'll be for the other drivers that they're coming up to now.
The first one to have gotten blue flags would have been Donovan, I think. But all the guys ahead of Donovan are Stan. Stan has fallen down into 19th position. And if we look at his last lap, he wasn't credited with the last lap, so maybe he exceeded track limits. But he is a long, long way down. He's got a nice battle potentially with Wessel Viljoen. He's within a second of Wessel, but I'm not sure if Wessel had already passed Stan earlier, because they were 3 cars running together with Stan in the middle.
I think Wessel was behind Stan, but then Stan was making a few mistakes, then Wessel made a few mistakes. And as a result, I think they were... Well, I think there was one of the drivers that got past him, but I don't see the driver on track at the moment. Who was it? I don't think it was JP. I think the two of them have fallen back. I think they were fighting with Andre Hildebrandt.
It could be. So Andre is ahead of JP. So if you look at the last lap times, then JP is running a 1:47.7 and Andre a 1:49.3 with 3.3 seconds between JP and Andre. So given a bit of time, and this is a long race, JP might still be at Andre in the next couple of laps. Morné du Toit, we haven't given a mention. First time out in the GT3 Championship that we've been running. This is what, round 10, Dennis?
Round 7 of 10.
7, sorry, the total is round 10. It's going by so quickly and it's such a lot of fun. So Morné in 13th, which is unlucky for some. Don't talk about unlucky because Harvey elects to run car number 13, but that's his choice. I think the people have got used to me saying this already. Of course, in real road racing, I think Harvey holds the honor in South Africa of being the only driver to win the same formula in 3 different decades. Formula V, 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s.
Absolutely amazing. What a true legend.
Yeah, there was a pass around the outside which wasn't actually there. And I think the touch thereafter, and I can't remember who runs the orange car for the love of me for an instant.
Rian van der Westhuizen.
Yeah, Rian. They're now ahead of D Nash. And there was a pass made around the outside, and I think then with him turning in on the car that he was trying to overtake, he got touched on the left rear quarter, which would have swung the back end round, which put him into the barrier. So he's not going to be too happy with it, but I think he was passing Dani Stander. So I think to an extent that was self-induced.
No, I think what happened was Dani stuck his nose up the inside. It got cut off. There wasn't quite enough space. And there was an incident and he just, I think, backed off to give it back.
Okay. So yeah, we do the, what shall we call it? The statement every race that we never mean to speak harm of anybody. We just state what we see and what we think, and we are not the judges of fact, and we don't claim to be. We are purely the guys that commentate on what we see, same as you do on the screen in front of us. Right, Sean Olivier still pushing hard, and
although Jean-Ray du Toit has got past him, so Jean-Ray has caught up, got past, and is now up behind Jean-Ray Dippenaar.
Yeah, Jean-Ray, as we said, he had a decent qualifying, had a terrible sprint race, which got him away in a terrible place. I think he started 9th. Julian, in retrospect, Julian Brains, car number 40, he had a good race, but has fallen down a bit compared to where he started. So, ups and downs for everybody. If we see in the sprint race, Where's Julian? Julian was 10th.
He's ninth now. Okay,
He's 9th now.
Oh. I think he possibly had a good start, because I think he was higher up and he's worked his way back down to ninth. So maybe
Yes. He was 9th in qualifying as well. So consistent, if anything, to be running in 9th again.
Surprisingly, the top three are kind of spreading out, which is not what I was expecting. I was expecting they would be closing in together, but there's about a 3.5 second gap between each of them.
Yeah, from first to second and second to third, and then 4.5 seconds back to Jandre. You've got to get them to give them different names. JD and, well, that makes it difficult. The one's Dippenaar and the one's De Toy, so you can't talk about JD either, because that applies to both of them. But Jandre Dippenaar, car number 9, he's running his last lap of 142.9, and Jandre De Toy, car number 737, that I nicknamed the Boeing Brigade, but it's running the single Boeing now, is a 142.6. So 0.3 of a second that he caught the car ahead of him, and he's only a second behind Jandre Dippenaar at the moment. So within the next 3 laps, maybe we can have a challenge for 4th position. Of course, if you're in sight of each other, it adds incentive to really get at the guys. Donnie Stannard has a beautiful, if you look at the way that he's colored that car in the GDR racing team, it's car number 243, and he runs the Mercedes. So if that livery, that honeycomb structured skin that he has, and also the fact that he has the number 243 looking at you, makes it very easy to recognize the car, other than a little button at the bottom of the screen that tells you that it's Donnie Stannard. So Donnie Stannard, just to mention where he is, he's in 11th position, and he's looking at the orange car of Rian van der Westhuizen, number 69, and Rian's car is the PZN Weldmec car, and that's a BMW. So Mercedes chasing BMW as you see it on the track there.
You see the battle brewing here again with Jean de Toy.
He's certainly a lot closer than 1 second now. Well, it's 0.8, but every bit that he catches up, he will see it. And also with this long straight, he has the slipstream benefit. And look how much closer he is when they get to turn 1. The gap now down to 0.6 of a second. Stretches to 0.8 as they exit. But we'll have that through those sets of corners. And every piece of the circuit where it's straight, you can be assured that Jandre is going to position his car to maximum benefit to try and catch Jandre in the number 9 car. He's right there with him already. So certainly the incremental gains is, I think, you can go and read it up. It was something that was thought out by when the Olympic Games were held in London, was the British cycling team. They went out and thought, how are we going to get quicker little by little? And they didn't do it in one big foul swoop. It was incremental gains. A lot of small little bits add up. But then again, as you see, they come onto the throttle again, and Jandre just seems to stretch again.
On the brakes, that Aston definitely looks a lot more stable.
Yes. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen, what's going to change here. So the Aston Martin 737 of Jandre de Toy, after not having a good sprint race, he's fought back to 5th position now, which is much more where we would expect him to be running. Here's the pit straight. He gets out of the slipstream early. He tries to get up alongside. Let's see if he's going to do it. I'm not sure what the legs of the Aston are compared to he's alongside, which means he's going to block the line into turn 1.
And he's got it.
Yeah. Even though he's off the racing line, which means the grip is not going to be as good, he can block it, and then the corners go left-right, which means that the car behind him has to follow. So well done there to Jandre and to Jandre. The fact that they gave each other room. The circuit is nice and wide, I must say. It certainly makes for racing like this. And I think these guys have settled into, shall I say, maturity mode. We have had a couple of demolition derbies where half the pack have sort of gone into a collision just because the guys were trying to make up positions on the first corner or the first set of corners in a race. But the guys are now doing the steadfast, slow approach that you win the race later. And we still have 38 minutes to go. So a couple of nice passes that we have seen, and that I did say right in the beginning that the straight is long, and if you can get up on the right-hand side of the car that you are chasing, then you certainly block the entrance into turn one and they have to concede.
And a battle here between Richard Cilliers and Sean Olivier as well. 5/10 of a second between them. So Richard's starting to come forward in the race.
Richard runs car number 101 and Sean Olivier number 137. 101 is the BMW of PZN Racing, and 137 is Sean Olivier, also BMW, running for the Thorax Racing team.
See if the slipstream will help him. Maybe he'll go for a move on the brakes into turn one. Or maybe he'll run slightly wide and then go into turn two up the inside.
Now the double change in direction, certainly you have to stay wide awake.
Trying to catch the slipstream's doing its thing. Is it going to run out of time? Not quite long enough.
Just have to rename that one bridge that I've got on my drawing of this circuit. They were all Pirelli bridges, but the last one has been bought by Petronas, so their colors now, it's the last bridge before you go into turn one. There's a change of color from what I did see when I went around the circuit earlier in the day, and it was in a Formula One car. So interesting how many cars and categories they run here in Mexico.
Yeah, I think the Formula One is probably the most famous.
One thing we haven't mentioned is that the last corner, that long sweeping right-hander, the Peraltada, not sure of the pronunciation, but that has slight banking to it. So I don't know if you feel it when you race the circuit, Dennis, if you actually feel the banking of Peraltada, that last right-hand corner.
Not really,
to the
no.
straight.
No, I've never really felt it when driving here, no. Whether in a Formula car, which you lower down, you'd maybe feel it a bit more than in a tin top, but no, I didn't feel it.
Yeah, these cars are probably a little bit heavy and don't go through there fast enough to feel the banking.
Move maybe looking on the inside there. What happened?
Here's this long straight again, so if you're close enough, the slipstreaming, you can get right up to a bit of a defensive line there. Now he's forcing him to go around the outside, which is probably the right thing to do. It's not against the rules, because now he can't turn in on the guy. So good defensive driving there. Not taking the racing line, but he's now on the wrong part of the circuit, but still ahead, so he maintains the racing line. Sean Olivier and Richard Cilliers are having a demon race. So clever racing there by Sean Olivier, positioning the car off the racing line, preventing Richard Cilliers from blocking his entry into turn one.
Oh, good driving, nice defensive driving there.
And also what's nice about it, it was done early. So it's not a surprise that Richard had to do an evasive maneuver. He realized that Sean is going to block that entry into the corner, and he would have to have a different strategy to get past him. Mistake there by Sean, just touching the inside of the corner with the wheels, but I don't think that Richard is close enough. So it looks as though Jean-Ray has redeemed himself and is up into fourth position. As we say, he was in ninth, and he now has 4 seconds to Gerrit Beekes. What has happened is Gerrit Beekes is slowly but surely catching up to Chris Collison. We did say it was 3 seconds, I believe. It's now only 2.5, but Chris Collison is losing distance and time to his teammate Jason Underwood, who's now almost 7.5 seconds ahead of him.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just Chris slowly falling back again.
Yeah. Although the best lap, obviously not this one, but the best lap of the race is still with Jason Underwood. So if things were to be scored as they stand now, he would get an extra point for the quickest lap, as well as the most points for finishing in first position.
Looks like the gap between Gerrit and Jason is actually coming down. It was on 9 seconds as you started talking about them. It now went down to just touched 7, and now it's back up to 8 as they're going through different areas of the track. But maybe Jason is also slowing down slightly, so maybe the BM will come good as the race evolves. We're only now at roughly the halfway mark. Lots can still happen.
I'll have to give Gerrit a new nickname. Well, he didn't have a nickname before, but I'm going to give him one now, which I'd actually given to Wayne Heisman in the days that I was doing commentary at Tolton for drag racing. Wayne Heisman had stopped racing circuit bikes ages ago, but he was still very, very quick down the drag strip, and that is the Flying Bumblebee. So Gerrit Beekes now officially runs the Flying Bumblebee. Now, Wayne Heisman was a Suzuki man, so the black and yellow, their colors. I'm not sure what they run nowadays. I think they're in blue, Suzuki are nowadays.
Yeah, blue, yeah.
Then again, so is Yamaha. But yeah, you get to remember people by certain characteristics and quirks, and certainly Wayne Heisman was a character. Sorely missed. Always approachable, nice to talk to. Really good guy.
Shaun Johnson having a good race, up to 8th place at the moment. Fortunately, quite far behind Richard, about a 17 or 18 second gap to 7th place, so unless something happens, I don't think he's likely to progress any further, but still a solid result of 8th place.
Now, Julian Brains behind him, I think qualified 9th, finished the sprint race in 9th and is running 9th. So if anything, that's consistency for you. He's just over 6 seconds behind Shaun Johnson ahead of him, and he's 11, almost 12 seconds ahead of Dani Stander behind him. So pretty much in isolation, my tongue and my brain, isolation. So the S's and the S sounding T's in the English language.
It was a long week, so we can give that one to you. Of course, Julian Brains is a driver from Cape Town. He is part of Team High Revolution. High Revolution have helped us out with many of our streams, so definitely a big part of Sim Experience South Africa.
He runs car number 40, and Adib Khamildin, who's not here this evening, is his teammate.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened to Adib. He doesn't always make the races. I think he has a very busy schedule. But Wessel Viljoen is also one of their drivers in the same color skin, although he's not part of their team officially. He's in a different team. I think he is High Revolution Roadside. That's like their B team, effectively.
Yes.
Having a nice battle with Marius van Wyk at the moment.
Yeah, just for clarity, I almost feel like part of the furniture here already. Thanks, Dennis. In one of the previous formulas, just as an example, and no bad intention, I think there were 4 or 5 PZN cars. And then they decided, right, a team in this GT3 championship is only allowed to consist of 2 drivers. So that's why you'll see there's PZN panel beaters, PZN Wild Mech, and I think PZN Trucking. So they've split them up so that they still running. If you take, for instance, JP Sillier runs PZN Trucking, Richard Sillier runs PZN Racing, and Peter Marais runs PZN Wild Mech Racing. So, and then Rudy, I think, runs PZN as well, Rudy van der Westhuizen. So they are a busy lot of people, but they split them into 2 cars per team. The race leader coming to back markers, I think that's in fact Chris Collison already. That's the 2nd place car. And as we said, it was 7 seconds. Now he's doing better lap times, although the back markers are now detrimental to his lap times. He's still 6.3 seconds behind Jason Underwood. And Jason Underwood, his teammate, Team Harder Racing, the Aston Martins, they seem to have this race pretty secure, but nothing's done until the fat lady gets given the microphone. 29 minutes still to run.
I was speaking of gaps earlier, and Shaun Johnson had a large 17 to 18 second gap on Richard, and something's happened to Richard because Richard is now just ahead of Shaun, 2.2 seconds ahead at the moment. So I'm not sure what's happened to Richard.
His last lap was a 154.9 and Shaun Johnson a 145.47. So somewhere he made a big mistake worth 9 seconds.
Maybe he had a pit stop. We see Sean Olivier in the pits now. So perhaps the drivers are doing pit stops. I didn't notice, but that would explain it.
That makes a lot of sense. Whether it's for tires or for fuel, I don't know, because this is just past the halfway mark. So maybe unless they've been given a penalty, which you would probably have seen or heard. But nothing that we can think of, but we don't see all the cars all the time. We see what you see. And maybe there was an infringement somewhere and that car has to go in. But yeah, certainly that last lap wasn't a good one.
That first sector is looking like it's good. He's just shy of his personal best. So I think Sean Williford just got a penalty for something. I think that was maybe a pit exit. I think Richard has maybe done a pit stop because his tyres are showing that he's got pace again. So maybe he decided it wasn't going to work. Let's pit.
Yeah. Let's just see if there's nobody that's gone onto the soft compound. The front 8 cars to Richard are all on the hards. So then there's medium for Sean Johnson and the combination hard medium for Julian. I think he puts the hards on the front tyres and then the mediums trailing behind. And then the other full mediums are Rian van der Westhuizen, Andre Hildebrand, Marius van Wyk, and Peter, who has DNF'd. So Jean-Ray du Toit, number 737, running in 4th position, 1.2 seconds behind Gerrit Beekes, the Flying Bumblebee. So he'll see that and just runs that corner a little bit wide. That's not what you want to do. You want to actually get a good exit out of the corner and be on the throttle early and hard so that you get maximum acceleration. But certainly it does look as though he's catching up to him now. So Gerrit is 1.3 seconds ahead. He has back marker staying nicely out of the way. His intentions are good. So everybody knows that he's going to stay on that side of the road. And even though it's off the racing line, they go around him and everybody gets through nice and clean.
Certainly not the easiest part of the track to be off the racing line. So yeah, very nice that the driver was able to move out of the way like they did.
Yeah, and even though he got onto the racing line, he stayed on that portion of the track and didn't go across to be off the racing line again, because that would have created more pandemonium. So exactly what his intentions were clear, and everybody got around him pretty quickly.
So a nice battle there between, what's his 3rd and 4th place at the moment?
Who runs the other High Revolution racing car? I think
Vesselfillion is the one, and
in that skin, because it was one of the High Revolution cars that they went past. So that'll probably be Vesselfillion, who's running in 17th position.
Yes.
That they've, yeah.
Alright, let's see how Jean-Andre catches up on the brakes. We know that car is very good on the brakes, or he's certainly very good on the brakes.
Jean-Andre is still at half a second. But you have the target in sight, so you certainly can aim at it. The difference is also that you can see what the other competitor is doing when you're close enough behind him, where his strong points are, where his weaknesses are, if there are any, and you can exploit that and get up close enough. But as we see, there's also a thing called defensive driving. Sean Johnson did it very well earlier in the race, but now certainly with 2 car lengths from rear to front bumper between these two, Jean-Ray du Toit is fighting really hard.
So there's another battle or two in the field. I'm very keen to change, but I don't want to miss the action.
Yeah.
But currently, just looking at the tyres, our top 6 drivers all on hard tyres. Sean Johnson, the first driver to be running medium tyres.
He's had a good race until now. The question is, with 24 minutes to go, are the tyres going to last? And I think he was slow into that corner. It almost looked as if Jean-Ray du Toit had to, I wouldn't say take evasive action, but had to run a different racing line so as not to run into him. And here he goes around the outside of the Flying Bumblebee. So this will be interesting if on sheer pace he can get past him way off the racing line and also do the block into turn 1.
We know he's good on the brakes, so I think it's done and dusted.
No, he's tucks him behind again, so he's got a slipstream again. So certainly, well, now he's through. In the shadows there, I got my cars confused. Or no, the cars weren't confused. It was Sean that was confused. But certainly, he got that pass done early already.
Right, so now let's see how quick he can close in on Chris. That's now already on the podium.
Now that's 3 seconds.
JP Salier up ahead of them, between him and second place.
Yeah, if you look at Jean Ray, even with the pass, well, the last lap, the pass was done actually after they went across the finish line. But Jean Ray's last time a 42.5, where Chris Collison did a 43.8. So that's 1.3 seconds, and he's only 2.4 seconds behind him. So within 2 laps, Chris Collison might have Jean Ray du Toit all through his mirrors. Harvey Gous staying out of the way. Chris Collison in second position, comes past Harvey. So to give you an idea, Harvey's running in 14th position, and the race leader's already at and past him. Oh, mistake there.
I think that was a desperate move to get past Harvey to try and not lose ground on Chris, because Chris was held up slightly getting past.
Yep. So I said it's going to take 2 laps, and in fact it's a lot less than that. I'm not sure what problems Chris has, but he's certainly out of sorts. Maybe he was unsettled trying to get past Harvey, and there was no mistake made by Harvey at all. That was just the way that the circuit forces you to go. But certainly now, Jean Ray du Toit is a lot closer, a lot quicker than what I would have expected. So Jean Ray is on the podium, but can he take the second position? And there's still plenty of time in which to do that, just under 22 minutes.
Right. Look back from Chris's car, we can see them in the distance now. He of course has company. So Garrett is still there. He hasn't given up. He's within a second of Jean Ray.
Garrett running team full throttle, and Jean Ray trying to catch up. Car number 737 now running for Midnight Code.
Roy doing a really good job there to stay out of the way without causing too much damage to their time, so they're managing to keep their race going and keep fighting without losing time passing the back marker.
But the back marker is certainly coming into play in the second half of the race. Was that a Ferrari or a McLaren?
That was a Ferrari, yeah. I think
Ferrari,
it was
okay.
maybe Dean Nash.
Yes, and it would have. I'm 2 cars behind with a McLaren.
Really close, 3 of them here.
JP Salier, number 89, is the only McLaren in the field, and he finds himself in 14th position at the moment.
No, Sean Johnson is also in a McLaren, although it's a different model McLaren.
Okay. Yeah, quite a selection that they have in GT3. But the cars that are quick, I think, to an extent. For the second race in a row, I say I'm missing Timo Smit, because I'm not sure how well he would have done in the Minions racing car at this circuit, but I think it would have suited his car quite well.
Yeah, I would assume so. With a long straight, and American Muscle should, in theory, be able to stretch its legs.
So that would have been car number 84 that we're talking about, and the reason we say we think it would have run well is because it's a Corvette. And American cars did very well at Le Mans today. They didn't win it, they didn't finish second, but then they were there in force in the Cadillacs, which is General Motors in any case. Right, so interesting racing. Chris Collison now has to change from just having to drive his own style of racing. He's got to keep in mind that Jean Ray du Toit is right behind him. But Jean Ray has to attack and defend in the same style, because he's got Gerrit Beekes 0.8 of a second behind him. So second, third and fourth are very, very close together. There you see them. The blue car in the distance is second. The one in the middle is third, and this car that you see here is in fourth position, Gerrit Beekes.
Yeah, of course, Jason Underwood is up the road by 11 seconds.
Yeah, as you see, the shadows extend, so it's becoming later in the afternoon, but it's only 18 and 3/4 minutes to go. I don't think day or night will become a factor.
Shadows are definitely getting longer though. Sunset
Yes,
might
they
get
are.
into the eyes at some point.
Actually, that's one thing, not that it's a major thing. I normally go and see how the track is oriented compared to north. and Mexico also being in the southern hemisphere will be very similar to what we have here in South Africa. I'm actually Mexico. No, I lie. I'm thinking of Sao Paulo. Mexico's in the northern hemisphere, so I just had a business trip where I remember flying to Sao Paulo that lasted forever, and the sun got stuck in the sky. It just didn't set because we were flying into the sun to Sao Paulo, so the day just dragged on forever.
It was a very long day.
Yes, literally. And then a long stopover before the flight to Mexico City.
So the battle seems to be more between second and third. Looks like Heritage is just losing ground at certain points. Maybe trying too hard and scrubbing off too much speed. Needs to maybe go in a bit slower and out faster rather than in fast and out slow.
Yeah, he's running 0.2 of a second slower than Chris Collison in the last lap time. Jean-Ray wasn't given a lap time for some reason. But there you see second, third and fourth coming around the corner in the stadium section. And that's a succession of direction changes, and certainly it looks like Chris sort of taking the middle of the road through the corners, coming past the stadiums and down the straight as well. So behind him, Jean-Ray has to decide, do I go left, do I go right? I think he'll stay in the slipstream for as long as he can before he commits, by which time Chris has gone left, so he will have to come up on the right-hand side, and he's not going to do it this time round. Gerrit watches both of them a little further back, and as we said, Gerrit seems to be losing. There he makes a mistake again, putting the left side wheels on the dirt, and you don't get the drive out of the corner as quick as what you'd like or as fast as what you'd like, and that means you lose maybe another 5 or 10 meters to the cars in front of you.
Coming to lap another car. Looks like one of the Porsches. Donovan for Mark.
Donovan stays extreme right. And to give you an idea where Donovan is running, he's probably being lapped a second time. Yes, he's in 18th position and now 2 laps down.
Definitely think the sunset is going to start playing a part. There's only 15 minutes to go. It's definitely going to get into the guy's eyes.
So this part of the track they're running at is in sort of a westerly direction. That was the straight bit just before they came into the complex. So I think that's turn 11 till 15 before they come into the complex of all the stadiums. And that has rapid changes of direction. So when they go down the main straight, the sun should be behind them. If we look at the shadows of the poles and the bridges, then I am correct.
One advantage that Jean-Ray had on the other competitors was his braking ability. Of course, he's now behind Chris, who's in the same car. So if it was the car that makes the difference on the brakes...
That's been nullified.
Yes, although he does still look like he's quite good on the brakes.
Yeah, he still gets the car settled as well. But also, points in the bag is always worth a lot more than a suicide maneuver if you know you're not going to get through. But nonetheless, let's have a look. I don't have the full. Jean-Ray wasn't in the top 3. Jason, who was in the lead, is in the lead of this race. Chris Collison, who was second in the points, is second in this race. And Stanton's not running. He was third. And I don't know how far behind Jean-Ray and Gerrit were, because they're scoring good points in the absence of their competitor, Stanton Augustus, in the Fach Autotech eSport racing team.
Yeah, they're doing the Lamar virtual event tonight, I believe. Or a Lamar virtual event. It looks like Chris has got the pace to defend from Jean-Ray. Jean-Ray, I don't think has quite... I think he's a fraction faster, but he gets to that point where he just can't make up enough ground to get past. It's kind of stalemate at the moment.
Yes, and certainly I can't recall if it's 2 points the difference between second and third, then I think you'll rather take the points for third and make sure that they're in the bag rather than risk passing where you might kill the race for both of them.
We can have a quick look at the
Still
points.
to be 13 and a half minutes, so certainly opportunities will come. if you're in the right place, of course. Now it looks as though Chris has caught a wake-up. 42.38 the last lap, and John Ray 42.55. It's only 0.22 of a second, but you can see that it's a car length or two between the two of them that has been extended between second and third. Maybe just taking a breather and rethink the whole strategy. There could be something like the tires going off, and now you've really got to think about making the tires last. We're not in the car, so we don't know what the tire wear is like. And Gerrit Beekes, it doesn't sound much where he was in contention with him earlier. He's now dropped back 4.4 seconds behind Jean-Ray du Toit.
Yeah, so Jean-Ray's challenging nicely. Gerrit is just falling away.
There's Gerrit. All of that two corners in this complex that he's behind, there he comes out behind the crane. So Gerrit, I think, for what he's got, it hasn't lasted as well as I think these guys have made theirs last. But then again, as I said, time's still 12 minutes to go. Things can change. And the top three cars, just to rub everybody else's noses in it, are all Aston Martins. So maybe for this track, the car to run is the Aston Martin, and the others just don't have the pace.
Nice battle further back as well. I'm going to change, as long as there's no change of position here into turn 1. There's Marius van Wyk and Harvey Gross. They, of course, are battling for veterans' honours. Marius is 1 point odd seconds behind JP. Let's go to that. Harvey is not too far back from them, about 7 seconds back. You see the sun is definitely setting. The headlights are now on. The sun is going to be probably getting very, very low by the end of the race.
Yeah. As we also see the distance that, although the distance that the shadow is beyond the bridge, gives you an idea of how low the sun is lying.
Ooh, a penalty for Morne Deploy.
Marius ran that corner very wide, which made the next corner for him very difficult. The car would probably not want to turn. Oh, and he's off completely with the wheels there. So a bit ragged through two corners is Marius. Marius van Wyk, number 77, in 14th position. He's fractionally quicker than Harvey Gross. So Harvey's a little bit further back now. So Marius is chasing up on JP Sillier. And if you look at the lap times, JP's a little bit slower than Marius. So that's potentially why Marius is pushing as hard as he is. And maybe that Porsche is good on the tires, so he can mount a challenge this late in the race. 10 minutes still to go.
Still like the appearance of that McLaren 650S. I think it's one of the nicest looking sports cars.
Yeah, certainly. It's going to cost you a bit of money to buy one of them, and you'd have to have a very, very smooth driveway to be able to drive the car into your garage, because they are very low on the road. But a really pretty car to look at, as you say.
Navigate roads that don't have speed bumps.
Well, I think in the UK they call them dead policemen, or on Top Gear they call them a dead policeman, so you can't run over a dead policeman. It was one of their criteria in which to consider the car as a road-going car, is whether it could get over a speed bump or not. Who's in the pits?
Morne Deploy is serving his penalty.
Okay, so he got another one, which we think arose out of the one that he was in for in the first place. And Harvey Gross goes past him.
Yes.
For 14th position.
That's interesting for the veterans. We got...
Oh, he thought of turning in, but then all of a sudden he had Morne, well, was that Andre Hildebrand behind him?
I think that was possibly Yandre Dippenaar that just got past him.
As high up, yeah. And that would have been bad news, because Yandre is running in 5th. And if he got taken out by a back marker, but I think he just saw him flash
I think that was
in
Richard.
the rearview mirror in time.
That was definitely Richard that just got past.
More back markers, holding the inside line.
Richard is well, actually ahead of Sean Johnson by 13 seconds, so He had fallen back. He's definitely gained against. Definitely went for a pit stop or something because his lap times did improve for a while.
Yeah.
And Sean Johnson did pick up a place. So he's in 7th place at the moment. So good result for Sean.
Julian also up to 8th. We were saying how consistent he had been running 9th, 9th, and 9th. And Julian Brain's car number 40 is up into 8th position. And if we look, he is not quicker than the car ahead of him. So Sean Johnson is getting away from him. And the gap there is 5.2 seconds.
Now we see the sun going to be playing a part. Definitely going to get in their eyes. Especially as they come through the center of the two grandstands here. I think it's going to hit them as they're turning around the right hand, and we see it coming through the top.
Yeah.
Bang in the eyes.
There it is. It's like Sunset Corner at Kyalami has that name for definitely the same reason as what you see here.
So he's still in the race. Jason Underwood is in the race. He's leading the race by 16 seconds, so he's walking away from everyone at the moment.
Yes. And I wouldn't say that the others aren't trying. It's just that maybe this car
collision
a
there.
nudge. And that is on the 737 car, I think on a back marker.
No, that was Chris Collison that he tapped.
It was Chris Collison. Now he's probably holding back. Yes, it was his mistake, so he holds back to allow Chris to go. So it was a bit of a, what shall we call it? He ran out of talent there attempting that pass. So that means Gerrit Beekes is now up into 2nd and is 6.5 seconds ahead of Chris, and John Ray is down to 4th. And Jan Ray is 8 seconds further back. So the battle now becomes not for 2nd and 3rd, now the battle is on for 3rd and 4th. So we did say that even though it looks fairly consistent, we did also say that things can and normally do change, but we didn't expect it to change like that.
Yeah, that's another thing with a long race. The fatigue kicks in and guys will make mistakes. A slight misjudgment because you're starting to get tired, and that's what happens.
Yeah, just a little bit of lack of concentration and awareness as to where you are in relation to where the circuit is going. And maybe that was just a little bit, as Chris Collison, is it my imagination, or was he hanging the back end of that Aston out a bit there?
Could be. I wonder if he's
Sean
got
is
any
right there with
damage.
him again. So maybe the difference in driving styles mean that Chris's tyres have gone off quicker than John Ray's have, even though they're running same cars. But certainly Jason Underwood in the front, he doesn't seem to have any problems because he's still quicker than anybody else, even vaguely close to them. He's running in the 142s. 0.4, and Gerrit Beekes is running a 142.9 the last time round, so that's half a second, and he's already got a 20-second lead on Gerrit Beekes, so he's just extending that and running away from them. I think Jean Ray will probably concentrate quite a bit more this time round.
He's definitely faster, but getting past is not easy on this track.
And also when the track changes direction so quickly, you think you're going to go past, and then when the car turns in front of you, which it's just following the racing line, and that's I think what happened there, and you gave it a nudge on the rear corner, and the car goes round. But as per gentleman's agreement in the race, he was able to go a lot earlier than Chris, but he hung back because his car ended up facing the right direction, and Chris was facing towards the grandstand. He waited for Chris to get past, which is the right thing to do, as they come up to one of the back markers, who holds it to the right-hand side, and they get past without any problem. Was that Dinesh?
I think it was Dinesh, yes.
He drives the Ferrari, I think. He's in 11th position, and Dinesh is number 5, and that is the Ferrari. He runs for IBFUSA, our series sponsor.
Another nice battle. JP Sadir currently challenging Marius van Wyk. There are several battles.
12th and 13th position, also only separated by 0.6 of a second. So the light's not on in JP's car. Maybe he thinks he can still see well enough. But certainly Marius van Wyk, car number 77, has the lights on. The Porsche Caltech eSport car. And PZN trucking, JP Sillier right there with him.
Lights look amazing.
Yeah, luckily only 3 and a bit minutes to go. So the sunset is not going to affect them that badly. But as you can see, the shadows lengthen. And I think JP has decided, no, it's not worth it from so far back to drive so hard with the visibility the way it is as well. Is Jean-Ray going to do another challenge, another lunge at Chris Collison? We'll have to wait and see. Gerrit Beukes is going to say thank you very much. I'll take that second position. So
that'll definitely help with the championship, Gerrit.
Yes. So as we said, he was pretty quick in free practice, but then didn't get it all together in qualifying. But certainly he seems to had a stroke of luck for the night. And Gerrit was third in qualifying, and in the sprint race he was third as well, and he's up to second for the main race. So a very consistent for him. He might then be second on the podium for the evening. I'll wait until your server does its magic for adding up the points, but that's just at a guess. Oh, back marker in the wrong place at the wrong time. Certainly affected Jean-Ray's pass there. But it's just the way that the corners evolved, that the back marker, you can only stay out of the way so much. And he certainly kept off the racing line, but then with the change of direction of the corner, he was actually slap bang in the way of Jean-Ray from getting past him quickly. And that means that Jean-Ray, well, not too bad. He's still 0.6, 0.7 of a second behind Chris Collison and pushing hard for position. These guys run a 140 whatever, and they have 1 minute 32. So they're going to, it depends where Jason, how far he's up the road. So Jason might even do, no, if the time goes by when Jason comes to the flag, it'll be probably for the end of the race. So these guys, I think, are on their last lap.
I think if Jason gets past, then the race doesn't stop, so it will...
Then everybody has to go one more lap.
Yeah, only once the leader, I think, is crossed does it start finishing it, as far as I know. Close with them at least.
They are. So everything's still to fight for, whether it's the last or the second last lap. I wouldn't say they won't know where it is. They know exactly where they are in the race and what duration is left. But certainly Jason Underwood, 21 seconds ahead. That means he would have passed with probably 1 minute 50 still to go. So I think he might still cross the line one more time in full race tilt. And it'll be that one more lap to race. My brain also loses concentration. I just don't crash into anybody.
Jason coming around the final corner. There's 15 seconds to go. I think he might just get past.
The finish line is very early in the straight, so
I think he's not going to make it.
Yeah. So wait and see if he goes past 4, 3.
And he's slowing down.
Catches the lights.
That's clever of him. He slowed down.
No.
That's victory.
Yeah, there we go. So he slowed it right down, so he didn't want to go another, and then that means that the second and third place will stay as it is as well. The Flying Bumblebee comes across Gerrit Beukes. Let's see what third and fourth do. Chris Collison holds on. Jean-Ray du Toit holds on. And I think that's probably the best end of a bad situation for the two of them. It was only one position down. It's not a bag full of points, but everybody fights for every single point that they can, and the rest of them come through. So Jason Underwood wins comfortably from Gerrit Beukes. So Gerrit actually upset the Aston Martin top 3 with his BMW. Chris Collison in third, the next of the Aston, Jean-Ray du Toit in fourth, another Aston. Then Jan-Ray de Pinaar, car number 9, is another one of the BMWs, PZN panel beaters. Richard Sillier, Sean Johnson, just trying to see the lap scoring monitor, who's gone past already. Richard Sillier, Sean Johnson, Julian Brains finishing 8th, so he'll be happy to get the monkey off his back, that 9th position that was hounding him all night. Donnie Stander got 9th, Sean Olivier in 10th, Marius van Wyk 11th, JP Sillier in 12th, and Gawie Gous, unlucky 13, finishing in 13th.
Alright, then we're going to jump to an ad break and we'll be back shortly with the interview, so stick around, and remember, if you're enjoying what you're watching, hit the like and subscribe button. But we'll be right back after this ad break to see our top 3 drivers.
I'll speak to you then.
Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the end of the Sim Experience IBF USA GT3 World Series Round 7 from Mexico Grand Prix Circuit in Mexico City, which Jason had correctly said last week, and I wasn't sure, but Jason, you were correct. Of course, we have our top 3 drivers with us, and Jason is the top driver for tonight, having won overall from Gerrit Bukes in second, or Bukes, I think. You can correct me. Bukes, and Chris Collison in third place. Let's start with Jason. Jason, a great evening for you tonight. You didn't quite get it in qualifying, but a great first race, and second race you just made everyone look silly. You just pulled away, I think, a 18-second lead in the end, but not sure how your tires managed, but it looked like some of the guys had to pit for tires. But how was your race? How were your tires? And how did you do it?
Yeah, so thanks very much. Qualifying was a bit of a struggle for some reason or another, but just wasn't quick enough over one lap. First sprint race was good. Went on to the mediums for the sprint race. I thought many people might go on the softs, and then we would have a slight advantage towards the end, which turned out to be the case. I'm not sure who else was on softs. And then the feature race was pretty good. It started off, with a clean start, and then I managed to get a gap and then just maintain the gap and just try and be as consistent as possible. Keep the tires in the right temperature, don't overheat them too much. And the hard tires lasted quite a bit. I slightly underfueled, so there was about a 3 or 4 lap stint where I was fuel saving, but other than that, it was quite a nice race.
Great stuff. Gerrit, another good weekend for yourself. Not as good as the previous one, but you still had good pace. You certainly had plenty of pace in the build-up to this event, but you didn't quite come through in the races with the right amount of pace. I was expecting you to be challenging more for the lead, but you seem to be settling for third, and then luck as it has it gave you second place. So a great result in the end, but how was the race from your point of view?
Yeah, just congratulations to Jason and Chris. Jason was unbelievable tonight. Yeah, basically in the race, I knew beforehand that I'm not going to have anything for the Astons. They're just unbelievable on that straight, very fast. So I was actually quite content with the fourth, and I saw on the timing screens that John there was coming, and I kind of thought, listen here, he's catching me by 500, 600 a lap. I'm gonna let him pass. I'm gonna let him go, and I'm gonna try and stay on his bumper and see if he can pull me towards Chris. And that kind of happened, and then lost touch, and then all of a sudden I saw 2 Aston Martins standing dead smack in the middle of the road, and I just went flying past, and that's what happened.
Well, you got to be there to take the positions, I guess. So yeah, well done. And then Chris, you also had quite a good evening. Unfortunately, you seem to be drifting off pace-wise in the feature race. I'm not sure if you had tire problems or what the story was then. Then obviously you had quite a strong battle with Jandre, which I'm sure would have slowed you down a lot. But how was the races? You certainly had the pace in qualifying, but just didn't quite get the results tonight.
Yeah, enjoyed the race tonight. It was good to get back on track a little bit after having a couple of bad weeks there. Well done to Jason. Clearly that much better than anyone else tonight. Enjoyed the sprint race. That went as we would hope. Hooked up a good quali lap, which I was happy with. And saw Jandre coming through like a bit of a train, to be honest with you. And was just about holding him off for a little while there, but we had to come in together, and Herrick was exactly where he needed to be to make the most of it. He was never far away, and grabbed that second. But yeah, enjoyed it tonight. It was great racing, thoroughly good fun.
All right, great stuff. Sean, any questions from you that you'd like to ask the drivers?
Just a question to let me go back to qualifying. Jason, you seem to make up a few positions on the start of the sprint race, which got you, I think, 2 positions before you got to turn 1, or was that me just imagining it? Up on the right-hand side.
Yeah, so the start in the sprint race it's always going to be in the beneficial for the Aston Martin with the straight line speed that we've got. So I started in 4th, and then just snuck in, behind the car in front of me, and then the straight line speed with the slipstream just managed to get me alongside, and then just a little bit late on the brakes, and I managed to get into second behind Chris.
Yeah, I think you passed Gerrit first and then Jandre. So they were the 2 ahead of you in qualifying. And of course, the rest is all history. So, and also towards the end, question to Chris, was the back end of your car stepping out a little bit more than what you would have liked?
Well, it depends when you mean, really. If it was after I had the little coming together, the car was damaged, so I was struggling just to drive it properly. No, it was okay. I thought the tyres were holding up. I mean, the biggest problem I had was dealing with my opponents behind me. That's never easy to drive like that. But no, I think the tyres were fine. The back end was stepping out a little bit. Visibility became a little bit harder as well to pick your apexes. So it got tougher as the race went on.
Yeah. Gerrit, in the new colours, you are now, if you listen to the stream after the race, you are now termed as the Flying Bumblebee, and that Bumblebee was just in the right place at the right time to take the second position in the feature race.
Yeah, no, that's probably a name that'll suit me.
Yeah, and although Genre is not here, the one thing that I think is worth a mention after the coming together, which happened, and it's in the past tense, Genre's car was facing in the right direction, but he did the gentleman thing, and he waited for you, Chris, and once you got past, he then went. So well done to Genre in his absence, but well done, Chris, and all three of you certainly gave us a lot to talk about. Even though we thought it had settled, it certainly hadn't until right towards the end. We had a bit of excitement. And Gerrit, if we could see into the car, we'd probably just see one big smile, although it would be hidden by the helmet. But certainly a great race to commentate on, and a very, very busy circuit as well. So I can imagine you guys are going to look forward to probably something cold, although, Jason, you guys are in the land of duck, so you'll probably go and have a cup of tea right now.
Yeah, pretty much, Sean. It's either tea or coffee in the land of the coldness, I suppose.
It's hot today here. It's nice today. But yeah, special mention, like Sean just brought up there for Jean-Andre. After the incident, not only did he let me have my place back, but he also made no attempt to get past me after that, and I'm sure he could have done. So that was absolute sportsmanship from him.
Yep. Right, great race it was, and I certainly had a lot of fun. Back to you, Dennis.
All right, then I guess we're going to say our good evenings to everyone. So I will say good evening to everyone then, and I'm just going to get you guys out of here so we can say our final goodbyes for the evening. But thank you all once again. I'm just going to drop you out into one of the other channels. Sean and I can do our final goodbyes. All right, so that, of course, is the end of the round. Our next round will be Montreal from Canada, which is the Formula 1 circuit. So another long, fast circuit. So that should, I guess the Aston Martins should be good because they have a good year with the long straight. So it should play to them. But I was hoping that Timo would be here tonight. So we don't know how good the Corvette will go, but I assume the Corvette will go good around Canada. There's not too many fast flowing corners, a couple of stop-go corners. So I think that circuit is very well suited to the Corvette. We'll see how some of the other cars go. The Ferraris apparently are very fast, but they just haven't shown their hand in the races yet. Then we'll have Sebring, one of the bumpiest circuits. So I think maybe the Mercedes might go well. It handles the bumps well. And then the final circuit will be Monza. So yep, that's what's up next. Until the next round, then I guess we will catch you all next Sunday. Until then, have a good week.
Thanks, Dennis, for doing all the work in the background. I don't think it gets said enough how much we appreciate your efforts. And thanks to you, everybody that's been listening and watching on the channel. We hope to see you all next week.
Always a pleasure. And yeah, hope to capture everyone then. Hopefully you hit the like and subscribe button so you get notifications of the upcoming races. So until then, have a great week and we'll see you all then. Cheers, everyone.
Good night, everybody.